A week later. Are you sure you don't wish to reconsider, Gaara?
The cage shook his head without hesitation. He did not even have to think about the man's request. To him, the god-I'm cage of Suna, this request was like another speck of sand in the vast desert. As I said before, you are my friend and friends will help each other in times of need.
It took the once isolated Kazakage some time to put together the right words, but when he does, it was usually powerful and deep. The man beside him only smirked from under his hood. Friends help each other in times of need? I remember that saying, he continued. It was back then when I was naive. If someone said that to me now, I would have laughed and walked away. But because it is you, I will trust you. Gaara merely nodded his head as the two took a stroll down the streets of Suna, making a right turn towards the main gates. The man had chosen this particular time for a reason, and Gaara had often wondered why the man liked the night so much. Could his reason be the same as his? The Kazakage shook his head. To him, the night offered something that the day could not. Comfort.
Throughout most of his life, Gaara grew up without the love of another human being. He was seen as a monster, portrayed as a demon who knew nothing but killing. During the days, he was feared and he often wandered the streets alone, thinking that he was destined to be like this. A cold-blooded killer. During the day, he was nothing but a killer, yet at night, when the screams and fearful eyes disappeared, he was just a little boy, silently reaching out for acknowledgement. The acknowledgement of existence. He did not care if he was alone during the day, as long as during the night, there was someone out there who believed in him for who he was. It was only after that man saved him from his own personal demon, that he realized how he always had people believing in him, and soon, the day became the night and the night became the day.
Why do you like the night? Gaara asked, the question nagging his mind as the two walked down the alleyway. Why do you always choose to do things under the darkness, Naruto? The man briefly glanced at the person that was walking beside him and lightly laughed.
The darkness was my first friend. It was the only time when I was free from those scornful eyes. It was in the darkness that made me feel safe, hiding me in a place where no one could find me. Naruto stopped and looked up at the night sky, feeling a sense of peace within his soul. During the day, the villagers would look at me with their hateful glares, spitting on me as I walked by, but no matter how much it hurt, I kept walking, because I know the darkness will come and save me. The night provided me with shelter whereas the day cannot. It was because of the night that I was able to survive for so long.
When Naruto finished explaining, the two men exchanged no further words. There was no need. They fully understood each other, knowing that they share similar pasts but different futures.
Does she know you're leaving?
Naruto shook his head. It is better this way. I can't bring her along to where I'm going. You know she's going to hate you, right? It will be better this way. We both know what's going to happen if she stays with me. The Kazakage sighed. She's not a child, Naruto. Let her make her own decisions. Since when are you the mature one here, Gaara? Naruto questioned. She has no idea of what my life has been, and I don't intend on telling her. My hands are stained with so much blood that I can dye the ocean red, but hers are not yet stained. I want to keep it that way. And what should I tell her? That you went to destroy Konoha? Gaara sarcastically replied. Naruto chuckled. That's not a bad idea. Naruto. Tell her that I will be back for her once my goals are fulfilled. The two walked up to the main gates, the Kazakage standing with his arms folded inside his robes. There's a war coming, Naruto. Which side are you going to be on? The blonde tilted his head a little and smirked. My own side. Naruto pulled his own cloak closer before disappearing in a little whirlwind of sand. Kazakage-sama, a guard shouted. An army is approaching us. Gaara narrowed his eyes. Which village are they from? Konoha. Upon hearing the name being uttered from the guard's mouth, Gaara's eyes widened slightly. This is not good.
Shisho, are you sure it was a wise decision to leave Konohamaru in charge? Sakura asked. I know he's the third's grandson, but he's still inexperienced. Wouldn't it be better to leave a member of the council in charge?
You shouldn't be worrying about things that don't concern you, Sakura. Konohamaru will be just fine. Shizune is with him. Concentrate on your own task. Tsunade answered, holding a pair of scrolls in her hands.
Tsunade watched as Sakura left her side and went over to Kakashi, who was standing firmly behind Sasuke, keeping a watchful eye over their prisoner.
It brought a frown to her face as she recalled the memory that led to his suspense in his prison time. Flashback. Sitting at her desk, Tsunade folded her hands, mentally preparing herself for this task. She was gripping her hands so hard, they were almost pale from the loss of blood.
As a knock on the door shook her out of her trance, she gritted her teeth as the door slowly opened, revealing a very cocky-looking Uchiha Sasuke and Morino Ibiki.
Hokage-sama. The Uchiha humorously greeted, a lack of respect clearly present in his voice.
Fool, you will greet your Hokage with respect. Ibiki growled out, slapping Sasuke across the face.
Sasuke saw the slap coming and braced for impact. He cocked his head to the side and smirked at Ibiki. Is that all you got? My grandmother hits harder than you.
Why you? Just as Ibiki was about to punch Sasuke, Tsunade slammed her hands on the table, getting their attention. As much as I want to see Ibiki beat the snot out of you Uchiha, you're here for a different reason today.
Sasuke slowly rose from the floor and snorted. What reason do you need me for? Hokage-sama.
Ibiki tugged on his prisoner's chain harshly, throwing him back to the floor. 3 hours today Uchiha. 3 hours.
Tsunade slowly stood up and glared at Sasuke. I should let your pathetic life rot down there in prison, Uchiha, but there's a war approaching, Uchiha. You need me, Sasuke mockingly replied, interrupting Tsunade in mid-sentence. You know that I'm the best fighter you got. As much as Tsunade wanted to laugh in his face, she couldn't. Both of them knew that the Uchiha bloodline is one of the strongest to ever emerge from Konoha. The Sharingan would be a valuable asset to have on their side. She had to play her cards right in order to get him to follow her orders. A ninja going rogue in the midst of battle is not something she wants to be worrying about.
I don't need you Uchiha. Why would I need you? Did you forget that Kakashi also has the Sharingan? Tsunade pointed out. He may only have one, but he's just as good as you.
Sasuke released a hollow laughter. That's a good one. Kakashi may indeed have the Sharingan, but he does not have the potential to use it fully. Face it, you need me in the front line, and you know what? I'd rather rot in jail than help you. Itachi's going to be there.
Sasuke's eyes widened when he heard his older brother's name. The very name that was the cause of all his pain and suffering. The very name that he engraved into his mind, swearing that one day, he will kill him.
You will let me fight him.
Tsunade growled, you are in no positions to make demands Uchiha.
I have to fight him, Sasuke shouted as he tugged on the chains, trying to draw chakra to his eyes.
Ibiki saw what his prisoner was doing and yanked the chains back. Did you forget? These chains were designed especially for you Uchiha. They respond to any type of chakra movement from within your body and sucks it dry, like a leech.
Feeling his chakra draining away, Sasuke slumped to the ground, his onyx eyes staring at the floor. Let me fight him and I will serve under you, he whispered. No, Tsunade responded, and Sasuke immediately looked up. You will fight our enemies, and if Itachi is one of them, then you will go fight. For a chance to extract his revenge on Adachi, he would do anything, including selling his soul to the devil. You got yourself a deal. Flashback end.
That was their agreement, and so far, the Uchiha was honoring it, even if he was surrounded by Kakashi, Guy, Asuma and Kurenai. To take an even more precautionary measure, she had Jiraiya put a seal on him, one that would immediately send out high voltages of electricity whenever activated.
Hurry your asses up, Sasuke barked out. If we don't make it now, we will never make it. Eat sand, Uchiha, one of the ninjas shouted. We don't take orders from you. The Uchiha smirked. Come over here and say that to my face, you scum. I'll even let you have a free hit, he taunted. The ninja took a step back, surprised by the words. He didn't know if he should back away or go forward. Whichever his decision was, it was obvious that he would end up losing. Seeing that the ninja was backing off, Sasuke looked around. Anyone else? When he saw that no one else was daring to step up, he gave out a cocky smirk. That's what I thought? You guys are all cowards. He continued walking forward, seeing the gates of Suna just ahead. His goal was getting closer with each step, and soon it will be fulfilled. Jiraiya stood next to Tsunade, disapproval written across his face. Are you sure it was a wise choice letting him come with us? Who else can we count on? He's our trump card. If he's our trump card, then I'd rather fold right now. Tsunade sighed. We're getting too old for this, Jiraiya. What choice did I really have? We needed strong fighters, and he's one of the strongest that we have. The Toad Sannin reluctantly nodded. I still say we should have risked it and let him rot in jail. You might risk it, but I'm not willing to bet that. I have too many lives on the line to gamble that away. Jiraiya said nothing as he looked straight ahead, watching the Konoha army approaching the gates. Tsunade found herself staring at her teammate and noticed a difference in his eyes for the first time. She noticed that instead of their usual youthful orbs, they were dull, almost as if his age finally caught up with his body. Standing under the moonlight, she saw that even under that ridiculous outfit that he wore, he was tired. His body and soul was tired from all the fighting. The mask that he had on disappeared for a split second, but that was all she needed to understand him some more.
While Tsunade and Jiraiya took up the rear, the four Junins took up the front with Sasuke and Sakura, each one keeping an eye on their prisoner. When the group finally reached the gate, Sasuke looked up and saw a guard standing in the tower. Open up, he commanded. Open the gate. The guard walked over to the side and looked down, seeing the Konoha army standing there. When he saw that his visitors were only them, he shrugged them off and continued patrolling the area. Kiba growled at the man's actions. What the hell? He saw us and walks away. This is bullshit. He picked up a stone from the ground and threw it at the guard. The guard saw the projectile coming and easily avoided it, continuing to ignore the outsiders. Angered by the man's action, Sasuke shoved Kiba to one side. Last warning. Open up or I will open it myself. The guard still paid them no attention. He was given strict orders by his lord not to let anyone in, and that includes Konoha. Kitan, Karyu Indan. The guard's eyes widened when he heard someone shout out the name of the jutsu. He saw a bright glow in the middle of the night and it came closer. There wasn't enough time to warn the rest of the guards, so he did the only thing possible. He brought his hands to his face and prepared to shield himself against the attack. If he survived this attack, then he would sound the alarms. As he watched for the attack to come, it never came. Instead, a huge gust of wind blocked and dispelled the attack, taming the fiery dragon and returning it to ash. The gate suddenly opened and revealed a very irritated Kazekage. I recognize that attack anywhere. Uchiha, Gaara dangerously said. I don't appreciate you harming my ninjas. Are you asking for a war between us? Sasuke responded with a smirk on his face. War? What makes you think you can take us on? You can't even beat me. You are nothing without your demon. I did it once before and I can do it again. Not fazed by the Uchiha's threats, Gaara slowly turned his attention to an approaching Hokage, who took her place in front of Sasuke. What does the mighty good dame Hokage of Konoha think? Do you want to risk war between us?
You already have more on your plate than you can handle. Tsunade shook her head. We don't want war. We are asking permission to stay for one night so that our soldiers can rest up. No. What? Tsunade asked, surprised by his answer. She knew they weren't exactly on the best of terms, but they were allies in this war. Surely he must understand that.
I said no. Konoha is not welcomed within Suna, and if your ninjas dare to step 1 foot inside, I will take it as a declaration of war between our villages, and I will not hesitate to crush you. Crush us? Sasuke scoffed. You are just one man. We have an army capable of conquering Suna right now. If we really wanted to, we can take this place by force.
Uchiha, who gave you permission to speak on my behalf? Tsunade coldly asked. I am the Hokage, and I will make the decisions. Is that clear? The cold, angry look told Sasuke all he needed to back away. As he backed down, he saw the amused look on Gaara's face and he scowled. She just saved you from an ass-kicking. I beg to differ, Uchiha. She just saved you from my execution. I like to see you try, Demon Boy. You talk big, but we both know that I'm the better fighter between the both of us. Gaara just laughed. For the first time in his life, he publicly laughed. Everyone that was in the area was surprised by the Kazekage's actions. Even Tsunade, who knew Gaara since the start of his career, never seen him laugh like this. Maybe a small smile or a chuckle once in a while, but never a laughter. You crack me up, Uchiha, Gaara said in between breaths. You claim about kicking my ass and then claim that you can conquer Suna, but yet you're being restrained by the very people who you think are your allies. Now, I only have one question for you. How low can an Uchiha actually go? Seeing the very enemy in front of him making remarks on his pride was one thing, but to not do anything about it was intolerable. Sasuke felt the power from the curse seal acting up, begging to be released, but he couldn't. The people around him wouldn't hesitate to kill him on the spot if he acted on his impulse.
Calming himself down, Sasuke did the only thing that he could, play his game. You're all talk, Gaara. You're nothing but a second-rate ninja. I can kick your ass all the way back to Kumo and back without breaking a sweat.
Gaara stood there, faint smile gracing his facial expressions as he folded his arms against his chest, his eyes locked on the Konoha ninjas, as if he was waiting for something. But can you kick my ass, Team A? A voice echoed from the desert breeze. Everyone started looking around, trying to locate that voice. It was oddly familiar, but yet, no one could place a name to that voice. Sasuke narrowed his eyes as he turned his attention back to Gaara. Resorting to petty tricks? This is a new low for you, Demon Boy. Instead of receiving a verbal answer like he wanted, Gaara only moved aside, revealing that he wasn't alone in this standoff. The sounds of a cloak flapping freely against the night breeze diverted everyone's attention to the newcomer. They gasped when they recognized the design on the cloak. It was an infamous design that brought fear into the hearts of many ninjas, even the strong ones. They were known far and wide, and they only had one name, Akatsuki. No one but Gaara knew who this Akatsuki member was, but to see one here, it meant that Akatsuki was onto them. They could be walking into an ambush if they weren't careful. For what looked like hours, only seconds has passed when the man in the Akatsuki robe spoke. What? No greetings for your former comrade? His voice deprived of all emotions, almost as if he was a robotic creature of some sort. You! Sasuke hissed out. You dare house a missing nin? I'm surprised at you, Gaara! Sakura shouted. You are a cage, for God's sake. It is your duty to protect your village from the likes of them. Missing nin. Where do you see the missing nin? Gaara asked, pretending to look around. I don't see one here. Do you see one, Kenshi? Kenshi, the guard, only shook his head. I do not, Kazekage-sama. I only see friends among us. Everyone in Suna knew about this particular missing nin. While the outside world considers him dangerous and labeled him to be killed, Suna considered him one of their own. A man who was worthy of receiving an honorary citizenship. A man who saved their village over and over, and a man who had saved their Kazakaj. There you have it, Konoha. We do not see a missing nin among us. We only see a brother. The stranger slowly reached for his straw hat and removed it, revealing his identity to the world. Sinead felt her heart dropping when she saw the identity of this Akatsuki member. It was the last person she expected to see, and the last person she ever wanted to go up against. Naruto, she whispered out.
Surprise spread among the Konoha ninjas when they realized who this man was. It was Uzumaki Naruto, the ex-Anbu captain who was dubbed the Silent Storm. Just one look at his cold azure eyes sent shivers down their spines.
If you want to go to war so badly, then let's go. A cold, cynical smirk appeared on Naruto's face, revealing his canines. I will take all of you on myself. Sinead watched as her ninjas were just trembling from fear. Her jounins weren't faring any better. She could see the slight nervousness in each of them, and if they were to fight now, it would end in their utter defeat. You made your point very clear, she proclaimed. We will take our leave, but you have a promise to uphold Gaara. Remember that? The Godame Hokage took one last look at her surrogated grandson, and painfully pushed herself to leave. Jiraiya took one last look at his former apprentice, and nodded, receiving one from Naruto as well.
Everyone move out, the Toad Sanin loudly commanded. Only a small amount of ninjas actually heard the command. The rest was paralyzed from fear to actually move.
What? Are you guys staying to fight? Idiots! Move out now! Jiraiya shouted when he saw the simultaneous hand motions from both Gaara and Naruto. If you won't move, we'll make you move. Gaara and Naruto both shouted. Sabaku no Naruto.
Jiraiya's eyes widened when he saw a huge twister sprouting up from the ground, combing itself with the sand. The effect was disastrous for the Konoha ninjas, getting forcefully pushed back by the force of nature.
Some were getting thrown forcefully into the air while others were getting slammed into the ground, getting buried by the sand. A dangerous technique that nearly destroyed their army if they haven't reacted in time. Strong, Jiraiya muttered as he struggled to remain stationary, but with each passing second, he found it hard.
It was truly a technique worthy of those two. By combining their two natural elements, they have created a dangerous maelstrom that can shred anything or anyone if they were unprepared. In the end, the desert storm threw out every Konoha ninja. Tsunade spat the sand out of her mouth before standing back up, ready to take command again. We regroup now, she angrily shouted. Her ninjas were in top condition when they left Konoha, but now, they couldn't even make it across the desert. Whatever that technique they used was, it was clearly dangerous. The Godime Hokage had a look of fear in her eyes when she looked up at the night sky, knowing what the future holds for her.
There was no doubt about it. She was going to end up fighting him, and she may end up killing him. Uzumaki, Naruto. And a week later.
Have you ever wondered where time actually goes when you really need it the most?
I certainly have.
I used to take time for granted because of its abundance, never realizing that time was against me. I always believed that time worked with me, but as I stood in this room, I realized that time is indeed not my friend, nor is it on my side. In fact, it's the complete opposite. I couldn't imagine what would have happened if time was on my side. Would I have stayed with Gaara for the remainder of the week? So many different possibilities, the thoughts were endless, but one thing was for sure, I wouldn't be here if I didn't have to be.
After that last battle with Konoha, he was calling for my presence. He was calling me to come back to the base. And so I left, not by choice. What I got in return was simply a few words, and then we disappeared to a secluded location that not even the rest of the Akatsuki members knew of. I recall him telling me something about something, but I paid the man no attention. I still didn't trust him one bit.
Are you ready to start, Uzumaki? There he goes again, speaking in his usual stoic tone. Tell me again why we're doing this. Preparation.
For what?
Pain narrowed his eyes and stared at the blonde Jinchuriki. That is none of your concern. What is of your concern is completing this training. Naruto sighed. Then for your sake, I better hope you thought this through. Your petty thoughts do not concern me. I do not care what you think. Pain quickly went through a series of hand seals before several puffs of smoke appeared next to him. Naruto tensed his muscles as he waited for whatever Pain summoned to appear. Once the smoke cleared, 5 bodies appeared next to the original one, all similar in context, but as Naruto took a closer look, they were also very different from the rest. The only distinct features were the markings on each of their faces. Welcome to Hell, Uzumaki.
Those were the last words that Naruto heard before Pain rushed from his spot and started the brutal assault on the blonde Jinchuriki. Naruto expected the man to be of a high caliber, but to witness it with his own eyes caused him take the leader of Akatsuki more seriously.
Feeling the power behind each blow, Naruto managed to duck under Pain's right elbow and leapt away, giving himself time to recover. He found himself slightly panting as Pain merely stood there, taunting him with those eyes. Is that all you have, Uzumaki? Those rumors about you must certainly be exaggerated. Naruto sneered as he got back up. Then let me show you why I was given the title of the Silent Storm. The blonde Jinchuriki disappeared from his spot, leaving nothing but a small trace of dust. In a split second, Naruto appeared from behind Pain, his elbow poised to strike at the neck. He swung down without enough force to make it a fatal blow, but before it could connect, Pain shot his palm up, blocking the elbow strike. Naruto's eyes widened when he saw his attack being stopped with one hand. The force behind the attack caused the small dust particles from the room to be swept away. Pathetic. Let me show you what it really means to be a storm. Inside Sunagaku no Sato, Kei's cage chambers.
Where is he? Ino demanded. It had been a week since she was last informed that her friend had flown the coup. Don't even think about using that sand of yours to escape.
Gaara sighed as he massaged his temples. Woman, if you don't shut up, not even the heavens themselves would save you from my wrath. Gaara-kun, Matsui scolded. Ino has been patient with you long enough. I believe it's time you owe her, no, both of us, some answers. The Kei's cage cursed the unfortunate timing. Here he was, sitting in his office with no paperwork and 2 angry women in the room. Gaara looked up, eyeing his wife and his friend's conditional girlfriend carefully. Any wrong words from him, and judging by the looks from their eyes, it would mean hell for him. Past the 2 women were the door and a lone window. His escape from this third circle of hell, but can he do it? Can he slip past these 2 women and obtain his freedom? His eyes quickly measured the distance between the 2, a good 5 meters, yes he can. The more he looked at his freedom, the more his confidence went up. The windows and door are sealed. Ino replied without taking her eyes off the slippery Kei's cage. Your wife suggested sealing them up, seeing as how you once escaped through them. Gaara turned to his wife, awestruck. Why would you do something that? Matsui sweetly smiled at her husband. Dear, a woman cannot just stand by and let another woman suffer. It's against our oath as women. Gaara groaned as he slumped back into his chair. Is this what it truly means to be helpless? The Kei's cage quietly grumbled. Fine, Yamanaka. You win. What can I do for you today?
Where is Naruto?
Naruto. Why would you ask about him? I thought the message was clear. He wants nothing to do with you. That's why he took off and left.
Ino's eyes slowly widened as she felt the effects of Gaara's words. Time was slowing down and she felt her world shattering into a million pieces, like a broken mirror. Deep down, she knew the truth. He left. He had left her here alone. Did he truly not care about all the things that they accomplished together?
Did the cold-hearted bastard not care about the time they spent together? Did anything matter to him anymore? Was revenge the only thing driving him to live? She bit her lips, trying to keep herself from breaking down in tears. Did he leave a message for me? Gaara sighed and put his chin above his arms. And if he didn't, what would you do? Matsui stood behind Ino, watching the scene unfold before her. It wasn't her place to interrupt this conversation, but she would be there for Ino, silently supporting her along the way. What if he never wanted to see you again? Gaara continued. What if he left you behind on purpose because he felt that you were nothing more than a liability? Gaara-kun, Matsui spoke up, but Gaara raised his hand, stopping her from speaking. What would you do then, Yamanaka? As Gaara waited for her response, he calmly observed her not as a friend but as an unbiased individual. Sure, he was tough and sounded like a cold-hearted bastard, but this was a crucial moment in time. If he gave her the answers and her spirit was weak, there was no way she would be able to survive in the upcoming months. This information wasn't common knowledge, but there was a war lurking in the horizon, and he was secretly preparing his ninjas and his people for all possible situations.
I.
Matsui smiled slightly and put her hand softly on Ino's shoulder. It's okay. Gaara-kun is a reasonable man. She whispered. Tell him how you truly feel.
Ino paused slightly, conjuring the words deep from within her soul. I want to see him again.
Even if it means that there is the slight possibility that he does not want to see you again. I want to see Naruto. Ino sadly smiled. My mother and father passed away and I don't want to be alone anymore. He's the only thing that I have left and I won't let him walk away from me.
Underneath that cold mask of his, he's the same as me. He shoulders the burden of being alone, and that's what makes him great. He understands the pain of loneliness better than anyone. And if there is anything that I can do for him, it's to share that burden that he carries around.
This girl, Yamanaka Ino, she was indeed something else. Gaara could see why his mysterious friend found an interest in her. He pushed himself up and slowly smiled. Well said, Ino. The girl's eyes widened. You called me by my first name. I only call people by their first name as a sign of respect. Today, you have earned my respect, and because of that, I will tell you everything. Ino bowed gratefully as Matsui clapped her hands lightly. Gaara walked away from his desk and stared off into the window. Naruto has indeed left Suna, but not because he wanted to abandon you. He was doing you a favor, Ino. A favor? I don't understand. Why would he do me a favor by leaving? Gaara said nothing as his eyes looked at the beautiful sunset on the horizon. There was no avoiding it now. There's a war coming and Naruto's not on our side this time. If he stayed with us and Akatsuki found out, they would attack this place first, knowing that you were here and use you as leverage to get him to bend to their wills. Not even I could match up against the members of Akatsuki. They have grown far stronger in these past few months. Naruto knew this and spared us the trouble by leaving. But why doesn't he just leave Akatsuki if he didn't want to fight us?
Naruto has a grudge against Konoha, and nothing anyone does will remove that grudge. I'm telling you this as a friend and for your safety, Ino. You must stay away from Naruto. He walks a different path that most ninjas cannot begin to comprehend. Believe in him and he will return to your side. Gaara, Ino whispered out. As she looked at Gaara, she saw small tears in his eyes. You don't want to face Naruto either.
The mighty Kazekage slowly shook his head. I do not wish to fight someone who I consider my brother, but to protect my home, my precious people, I will do whatever is necessary. Gaara-kun, Matsui also whispered as she slowly walked over. She embraced her husband in an affectionate hug and the two smiled at each other. I will protect you, Matsui. I promise. Ino shook her head, unable to understand the situation. She couldn't understand what that idiot of hers was thinking. She understood that he knew about Akatsuki's plans, and yet, was he willing to go so far in order to gain power that he would sell his soul to get it? Was it truly worth getting revenge against the people who had done wrong against him in the past? Whatever his deal was, she was going to make that idiot speak to her. One way or another. Deep within an isolated mediation chamber, hidden from the rest of the world, a lone guardian remained in a fixated position. Sitting above the water, an open scroll laid before him, but the inside was bare. Empty to the naked eye, yet this guardian knew better. He was the 27th guardian and his name was Himura. This sacred duty had been passed on from master to student for the last 200 years, and now, it was his turn to carry it out. Sweat dripped down Himura's brow as he continued to mediate. He was almost there. The secrets of this scroll was almost ready to be unlocked. He just needed some more time, but he knew time wasn't on their side. Not right now anyway. Akatsuki was on the move. They know the location of the gate and key. No, his mind told him. He could not rush this. This was a delicate procedure that required time. His eyes widened when he felt something mystic moving along the scroll. Himura couldn't believe his eyes. The once blank scroll was filling up with text. A map slowly appeared in the center of it as text to the location of the key and gate appeared under it. A smile reached his lips as he took a deep breath. Not too shabby for an old guardian. Himura chuckled. It's time to assemble the key players. Kumogakure no Sato, Mountain Training Area 21. Reikage-sama, urgent news. Aoi sighed and shook his head. How many times must I tell you that I'm busy? Are you so blind that you can't see that? But Reikage-sama.
The Reikage narrowed his eyes and glared angrily at his chunin. Did I not imply that I want you gone from my presence? But.
Annoyed, Aoi merely stated two words that brought fear into the hearts of many. Killer bee. The fearful expression on the chunin's face was more than enough to know that he heard of this name. Aoi grinned menacingly. So you heard of him. Today's your lucky day, chunin. He's looking for a sparring partner and I was going to be it, but since you're here. The demon. The chunin screamed out before running away from the training grounds. Yo, who calls forth the name of the mighty killer bee? Wait, that's me. The man threw all of his swords into the air, but when they came down, it landed perfectly into his sheaths. Nothing, you fool. Go get ready. It looks like it's time to put your skills to the test, killer bee. It's time to show the rest of the world why Kumogakure is number one. Killer bee is always prepared for anything. You fools just don't remember that. The Reikage paid his ultimate weapon no attention as he turned around, adrenaline rushing through his veins. Soon, I will be known throughout this world as its savior. Like, are you okay, man? Don't be constipating on me now. Without warning, a fist came up and struck Killer Bee in the face, sending him through a rock. Do not test me, Killer Bee. I made you into what you are and I can easily take it away. Killer Bee groaned. Yes, sir. Pick yourself up and meet me at the gates in 20 minutes. We're moving out.
Iwagakure no Sato.
Using his skills as a ninja, Shibata slowly moved from one room to the next, making sure that his presence was unnoticeable and undetectable. Taking one step at a time, his foot stepped lightly but quickly. It was only a matter of time before they discover him. Shien-sama, Tsuchikage-sama has escaped. Tsuchikage-sama has escaped. A loud voice screamed out. Shibata cringed slightly at the loud voice. There went his cover. He must not slow down now. He must escape from this place. Where do you think you're going, oh stupid husband of mine? The Tsuchikage paled slightly. He knew this voice all too well. It was the ultimate evil, more evil than the Bijus themselves. Don't turn around. His mind shouted. For the love of God, Shibata, do not turn around. While his mind was telling him not to turn around, his body instinctively disobeyed his order, and there it was, the ultimate evil that cannot be vanquished. His eyes met hers and he whimpered slightly. Hello dear. Shibata answered in the most honest voice he could muster up. You are supposed to be in bed. Why the hell are you moving around? Curses woman, I can't be in bed. I have to leave. They're calling for me. Shion rolled her eyes. Your health comes first, you old goat. She saw that he was holding a strange coin in his hands and quickly snatched it. Shibata's eyes widened as he tried to recapture the coin. Give me that. You're dealing with issues that go beyond your normal understanding.
And you're dealing with a pissed-off wife. Do you want to push me further, Shibata?
The man cowered slightly, but nevertheless, he did not back down. This is a matter of life and death, Shion. I have to go. The fortress must go into battle. His wife shook her head angrily. The fortress is nothing but a small mountain now. Let Kenichi handle it. It's time that you let your son handle the matters. But, Shibata whined. Kenichi, Shion shouted. In an instant, a young man in his early 30s appeared from the ground. Oh, you found him. Thanks for saving me the trouble, mother. Shion smiled. Here, take this and go in your father's place. She threw the coin into her son's hand. May Kami protect you, Kenichi. Come back to us in one piece. Kenichi stared at the weird coin in his hands and only nodded. Always, mother. I will make you proud, father. The young man turned around and marched off, heeding the call of the cage, just like his father. His dad, the man who was known as the fortress to his enemies, was a legend among ninjas, but he did not follow in his father's footsteps. No, Hidekatsu Kenichi was a different man. He earned his own nickname with his own accomplishment, and that earned him the name of Titan. He waited for a time where the rest of the world would hear the name of Titan, and this was it. It was time to show everyone the true terror of Titan. Konohagakure no Sato, border between Sunagakure no Sato. Jiraiya sighed contentedly as he sat at a table, drinking sake. His earlier worries soon disappeared and nothing else mattered in this world. Only himself and sake.
Taking another sip, he felt his nerves slowly unwinding. This was the life. Being a hermit had its perks. No worries, no troubles, no problems. Jiraiya-sama. Kakashi bowed as he entered the room where the Sennin was currently relaxing. Tsunade-sama has requested that you come to her office now. The Toad-Sannin sighed. Fine, Kakashi, thanks. The copy. Ninja bowed and disappeared in a puff of smoke. Jiraiya grinned lecherously as he thought about him being in a room all alone with Tsunade. Him. He happily skipped over to her tent, but when he got there he found that she wasn't alone. On the contrary, she was with the Rookie 9.
Jiraiya sighed as he stood next to Neji. What is so important that you had to call me away from my sake, Tsunade? Himura is calling for us. It's time that we assemble and move out.
Our army's barely at full capacity. I would estimate that only 45% of our ninjas are ready to fight, but then, they wouldn't last long against Akatsuki anyway.
Tsunade shook her head. No, we are not taking our army. We will be taking a selective few. That's why I gathered all of you here. There's no easy way for me to say this, but we are at war. This is something that we have never experienced before.
War Hokage-sama? Neji asked. Against which country are we fighting against? Neither. We are fighting Akatsuki, and possibly the ultimate evil. Jiraiya chuckled. The ultimate evil. Please, you actually believe his story. There's something fishy about it.
Ignoring Jiraiya's statement, I am not forcing you guys to fight. I am asking for volunteers to accompany Jiraiya and myself into battle. I know all of you have lives which you treasure, so that's why I am not forcing you. All of those people that want to join us, please step forward. Sasuke smirked. A chance to kill Itachi. I will follow you into hell and back if I have to.
Tsunade merely nodded, still unimpressed by the Uchiha's statement. Anyone else? Chant let the Uchiha say all the cool things? Kiba spoke up. You'll need us to watch your back.
Kiba probably answered for the rest of us, but we will all follow you into battle, Hokage-sama. Shino answered. I have a debt to settle with Akatsuki. Don't forget that you need me as a medic, guys. Sakura interrupted, a smile on her face. Just don't get into too much trouble, okay? Neji looked at Hinata and the both of them nodded. We will also follow you into battle as well. Yash, Lee yelled out, pumping his fist into the air. Then Tenten and I will follow you into battle as well. The flames of youth flares greatly within all of us. Together, we shall beat Akatsuki. Tenten sighed, embarrassed by her teammate's action. Lee, she muttered, but nevertheless, she smiled. I will gladly join you, Tsunade-sama.
Jiraiya lightly chuckled. Then it's settled? We will move out in the morning. All of you get some rest and make sure that you make peace with yourselves, because in the next few weeks, you will experience something that you have never experienced before in your entire life.
All those training that you did, all those missions that you accomplished, all those teamwork exercises that you completed. It was all for this. This is the moment that defines our path as a ninja. The great Hokages of Konoha went through something similar, and now it is your turn. Never back down and always fight until your last dying breath. You are the best ninjas that Konoha has ever produced, and I cannot be more proud of each and every one of you. Quote.
Tsunade smiled at her teammate's speech. That pervert certainly did have a way with words. I couldn't have said it better myself. Dismissed.
The famed group slowly left the tent, one by one, until it was only Jiraiya and Tsunade left. What about him? Jiraiya asked. The Toad Sanin did not need to mention who he was, since both of them knew. It was taboo to speak his name around here. So many memories were associated with that name that it was painful to bring up the past. Tsunade sighed, her heart in turmoil. I will personally deal with him. This will be my final act as Hokage, as well as someone who really cares about him. It was my mistake to begin with, and I will make it right. Minato, I hope you can forgive me for what I am about to do to your son, the Hokage whispered out into the night sky.
Kirigakura no Sato.
Locked away in a vast library, filled with unlimited knowledge, the Mizukage rubbed his tired eyes. He let out a quiet yawn as he stretched his bones, but never once did he put down the scroll. As his eyes skimmed through the contents of it, he quickly tossed it away and picked up another one. In his mind, he was only searching for a particular scroll, one that would bring victory to his side, but in his absent-mindedness, he had forgotten where he placed it. It was futile to rush through his scrolls, for they contain information to everything. It was only a matter of time. Shiro looked at the coin vibrating on the table and ignored it. This was far more important than heeding that call. There was a scroll somewhere in this library that would turn the tides of war and maybe, bringing them to victory. Damn it, where is that scroll? The Mizukage muttered. As he massaged his eyes, he felt his body yearning for a rest, but he did not give in. Shiro took a look around the ransacked room, looking for areas that he might have missed during his little expedition. He knew who he was. He was a scholar, not a fighter. He detested the way these ninjas threw themselves into battle, proving to everyone and themselves that they were the strongest of them all, but the word strongest did not only mean brute strength. It also meant the mind as well. When he took this job as Mizukage, he wanted to pass on his belief that a perfect ninja must have both the mind and body in order for it to be called the strongest. One without the other is like a handle without the blade. It was necessary to have both to become strong. Unlike his predecessors, Shiro wasn't the frontline type of ninja. He was more of a strategist, and using his mind as a weapon, he proved his worth time and time again, bringing victories to his village. While others had looked down on him for being weak, he was strong in the area of the mind. He did not need to prove himself to anyone. He would show them when the time came. He knew the limits of a human being, and he knew what happened when the person surpassed their limit. They would achieve something that no other person had ever achieved before. Total harmony. Shiro tossed aside another scroll as he reached up for an old leather book, one whom he had not touched in a few years. He sighed when he realized that this wasn't it. It was the complete opposite to what he was looking for. He knew that eventually, he would find the answer. His only worry was finding it in time.
Akatsuki base. Deidara crossed his legs and put them over the table. What the hell are we waiting for here, yeah?
As he looked around, he saw that each member was engrossed in his or her own world. They paid him no attention to anyone. They were just off doing their own things. He sighed. It was boring sitting around, waiting for orders. Pain-sama had called for a meeting that was supposed to be 15 minutes ago, but the man was missing. He saw the chick that always hung around him sitting in her seat quietly, folding a piece of paper. Odd, his mind thought. The demon brat isn't here as well. Toby, on the other hand, happily jumped up and clapped his hands together. Toby is happy to start the meeting now. Every member turned their head and stared at their most eccentric member, wondering what was up with him. Usually, Toby sat with Deidara, bugging him about the most random things, but today, he was more hyperactive than usual. Are you okay, Toby? Hidan slowly asked, his arm reaching for his weapon. Does Jashin need to speak with you again? Fools. Do you think your pathetic Jashin could stop me? Gods have tried to stop me, but in the end, they all failed. The sudden change in Toba's voice took everyone by surprise. It was not the usual whiny and humorous voice that they grew accustomed with. No, this voice was much darker and it held no emotions but hatred and anger. Everyone stared at him with widened eyes, unable to comprehend what was going on. Toby, Deidara slowly asked, you are okay, yeah? Toby sneered as he turned his head. Deidara, you useless fool. Stop your whining and shut up. The clay user instantly felt the killing intent released from Toby or whoever was in Toba's body. The time has finally come. The opportunity is here. I cannot hide myself in this pathetic body any longer. Toby slowly removed his mask, revealing a face that no one had ever seen before, but what amazed them the most was the thing in his right eye. A Sharingan, Kakuzu slowly answered. Remarkable, truly remarkable. I thought Itachi killed all the members from the Uchiha clan. The person who held the orange mask chuckled darkly. Surely you remember the history of the Shidaime Hokage Kakuzu. The man who the Shodai fought at the Valley of the End. Uchiha, Madara, Itachi answered, interrupting Kakuzu. His own Sharingan spinning rapidly in his eyes. Could this man really be the famed Uchiha Madara? The founder of his clan? The Sharingan blazed brightly in the man's right eye as he nodded, answering Itachi's question. That's right. Lying in wait, I have. Waiting for the perfect opportunity to show myself. I could not move without being detected, so Akatsuki was formed for this purpose. But what about Pain-sama? Zetsu timidly asked. He could feel the raw power radiating off this man. His entire body was shaking just by standing so close to him. Is he not the leader? Pain was just a figurehead, someone to distract the general public from me. He was not the true leader of Akatsuki, merely a substitution until my plan was fully realized. Members of Akatsuki, we have finally secured the location to the world's answer to salvation. Oni no Kuni, Madara said as he threw a kunai at the map to pinpoint the location. Salvation is within our grasps. Soon, everyone will cower under the might of Akatsuki.
Unknown. Location.
In the ninja world, names were everything. The name of a weapon, the name of a technique, and most importantly, the name of an individual or group. In this world, there were people who could call themselves good, and then there were people who consider themselves God.
God.
To be a god. Madara smiled to himself as he focused on the idea of being omnipotent. He turned his head sideways, glad to see that the others were still following him like they should be. There was no need for conversation amongst the group, only the will to carry out orders was needed. As Madara led the way, Hidan and Kakuzu followed after, Itachi and Deidara were after them, and finally, Konan and Zetsu brought up the rear. Zetsu, being the second mysterious member of their group, remained silent throughout the journey. He recalled the first time he had met Uchiha Madara and every cell in his body was quivering in fear. When the orange mask came off, everything about the man reeked of blood and murder. It took every ounce of willpower not to disappear from the room and running away into the unknown. It almost felt like staring the Shinigami in the eyes as the death god slowly ripped out your soul. No matter how much he tried telling himself that this man was Tobi, his other half was disagreeing him, asking questions that made him rethink the whole Tobi, Madara and Pain Madara situation. Something doesn't make sense here, his dark half said. Where is Pain-sama? Shouldn't we try to make contact with him? I don't know, the lighter half replied. Is he the true leader of Akatsuki or is Tobi, I mean Madara, the leader? We're only confusing ourselves further by asking questions which we have no answer to. We have to find out more information. Do you think we can trust him? We have been loyal to Pain-sama since we joined this organization and then this guy shows up. What do you think we should do? The darker half sighed. I think we should confirm our suspicions with Konan. She is always with Pain-sama. If anyone should know, it has to be her.
I agree.
Zetsu then turned his attention to the blue-haired woman traveling next to him. He carefully observed her as she was pulling out small pieces of paper, writing something on it before crumpling the paper. What are you up to, Konan? Zetsu asked. Konan looked up, startled by the conversation. She quickly recomposed herself as she pulled her arms back into her cloak. What do you mean, Zetsu? You can fool the others with your innocent look, but you cannot fool me. I know about your abilities with paper and right now, I'm intrigued. Konan scoffed. It is none of your business. It is best for your sake that you learn to stay out of things that are beyond your comprehension. Zetsu merely laughed and moved closer to her. Konan watched the man approach her, a serious expression written all over his face. What do you think about Madara? Zetsu quietly asked, keeping his voice to a minimum. Konan narrowed her eyes. Where are you going with this, Zetsu? She firmly replied, you're treading on a dangerous path. Akatsuki does not take traitors lightly. The man chuckled again. Always so serious, Konan. As far as I'm concerned, I am loyal to Pain-sama and Pain-sama only. I do not recognize that man as my leader. It is just like Madara-sama said. Pain was just a cover. He was never the true leader of Akatsuki. That caused Zetsu to widen his eyes. What? Tell me you're joking. I don't joke. Then answer me this question. What does Pain-sama think about this plan? Konan turned her head, increasing her speed and moving away from Zetsu. The man was getting too nosy for her comfort. Some things were best left unasked. It would be a pity right now to kill him off. Zetsu watched as Konan moved away from him, a small smirk on his face. I think this confirms our suspicions. Yes it does. She knows something. I could smell her surprise when you asked her that question. We should keep observing for now. Too many unknown variables right now. We will decide when the time is right.
I agree. Oni no Kuni.
Deep within the mountains of Oni no Kuni, the members of Akatsuki landed on the ground, everyone taking a look around the area. Most of them have never been here before, staring into the unknown with a bold mask of bravery. Everything in Oni no Kuni was screaming out demon country, a place where only the wicked would stay.
So we hear ya? Deidara asked. It sure took a long time.
Madara nodded his head. Yes, we're here, you imbecile. Why don't you shut your mouth and stay quiet for a minute? Deidara was about to answer back when Itachi tapped him on the shoulder, a warning in his eyes. The former Iwa nin instantly knew what that meant. It was those damn eyes that made him join this organization, and it was those damn eyes that handed him his humiliating defeat. Deidara wisely closed his mouth, not willing to incur the Uchiha's wrath again. The group walked forward, reaching a large temple, everyone starting to doubt their leader. Hidan nudged his partner on the ribs, getting his attention. One look from him and Kakuzu knew what Hidan asked. The nin merely shook his head, disagreeing with him. This person, Madara, was truly a person to be feared. Even he had heard about Uchiha Madara, the legendary warrior who dared to cross paths against the Shadaime Hokage and lived. He could have over 100 hearts and he still wouldn't be able to win. To go against his orders was just suicidal and he knew his place. It was to not get on the man's bad side. While Hidan might be young and inexperienced, the nudge and look he got from him proved his theory. The boy was learning quickly, using him as a reference before acting up. Unlike that fool Deidara. It might have been lucky that Itachi gave him a silent warning or else they would be one member short. As the members of Akatsuki quietly walked up the stairs of the temple, the doors to the inner chamber opened and several monks walked out, a smile on their face. Greetings visitors, what brings you to our temple so late? We seek the entrance that you have been guarding. The monks continued to smile, as the one standing the middle took a step forward. Sorry travelers, but we're just a group of monks that serve Kami in peace. We do not understand what you are asking of us. Hidan growled, son of a bitch, they're toying with us. He was never a fan of monks and their hypocritical ways of how a religion should be run. Just because he had another lord to serve, it didn't make him any less of a man than them. He still recalled the time when a monk bluntly told him that his god was fake. Needlessly to say, Jashin-sama was pleased with the amount of visitors he had that night. Just seeing that smug look on the monk's face caused his blood to boil, but before he could make a move, Kakuzu grabbed the scythe, preventing him from doing anything. What the hell, man? Don't rush in yet. I dislike monks just as much as you do, but Madara-sama is here. We can't do anything foolish. Madara merely smiled as he stared at the group of monks. Monks are protectors. I don't care which one you are, but you're blocking the entrance to the Raikudo Sennin. In that instant, the innocent looks disappeared from the monk's face and was replaced by a serious expression. So you know what we guard. Then you must know who we are. The 6 warrior monks of Oni no Kuni, but I think the title of monks is too good for your little group. Hey, so you heard of us then, Akatsuki? The head monk answered. Heard of you? Nope, Madara answered. I never heard of the 6 warrior monks, but I did hear about the 6 missing nins that eventually became monks. I forgot their names though, but I vaguely recall the group calling themselves the Midnight Demons. I am honored that a group such as Akatsuki has heard of us, the Midnight Demons, but even still, we cannot let you pass. We have been given the order to protect this place from all outsiders. Then I guess there is one way to resolve this. Hidan, Kakuzu, eliminate them, Madara ordered. Freaking about time, Hidan shouted, stand back Kakuzu, I will personally sacrifice them to Jashin-sama. Kakuzu scoffed, I won't save you even if you beg me, Hidan. Can you useless fools get to it before I lose my patience? Madara threatened. Die, the Immortal One roared out as he leapt towards the group of monks. He swung the scythe downwards, intending on impaling the head monk through the skull. Let me introduce myself, young one. The head monk said as he stared at Hidan. I am Takumi Takahashi, the Mirage. To Jashin-sama, you're just a sacrifice. Takumi sighed, shaking his head, these young ones have no respect for their elders. Just before Hidan could land his fatal strike, Takumi began swaying from left to right at slow speeds before increasing his velocity. In a matter of mere seconds, 10 perfect copies of the monk appeared. Itachi's eyes widened, watching the amazing feat with his eyes. Incredible, the Uchiha muttered. He's not using any chakra in his form. That's just pure speed. Hidan swung downward, hoping that he would be lucky and nail the right one. To his disappointment, the Takumi that he hit was an illusion. Infinite punch. Takumi shouted as all the copies mirrored the original. Hidan didn't know what hit him. It felt like he was getting bombarded by punches in every direction. Way to go, Hidan. Kakuzu scoffed as he watched his partner was sent flying by the head monk. What a disgrace. How did you fall for something like that? Shut your mouth, Kakuzu, Hidan retorted as he slowly got up. The fun starts now. Takumi-san, let us help you. Takumi shook his head. Akatsuki is far stronger than we expected. He looked at the ground, shocked at the impact from the blow. If he had been hit with that, there was no doubt in his mind that his body would have been splattered all across the courtyard. Stand by and back me up accordingly. We cannot let them get their hands on the body. Hi, the group replied as they took a defensive stance at the door. Without warning, Hidan and Kakuzu jumped upward, but before the monks could react, Kakuzu split into his 5 counterparts, surprising the monks. Hidan, using his partner's actions, surprised the monks standing behind Takumi. He swiftly brought the scythe sideways, causing a minor wound on the chest of monk standing in the middle. The monks then scattered, evading further attacks by Hidan. Takumi wanted to turn around but he couldn't. He was faced with the 5 masks of Kakuzu. They all growled at him, showing him their face. Come on, monk, let me see what kind of heart you have. Forgetting about the battle, Madara walked forward and the rest of the members followed. Takumi saw them going into the temple from the corner of his eyes. He saw Kakuzu, or at least one of his masks, charging up for some kind of attack and used this moment to perform his technique again. He was graced with the name of Mirage because of his ability to accelerate his body in producing perfect copies of himself in a matter of seconds. Of course, they weren't solid clones, but it was good enough to fool his opponent. By using his speed, he was able to strike fear into his foes and kill before they realized the trick behind it. Stop them! Takumi roared out, but his order was unanswered when he found 3 of his companions dead on the ground. The other 2 were heavily engaged in a fight with the other member. He cursed his luck. How could it have come to this? The Guardians promised that this day would never come. Just what was going on here?
Inside the temple.
So what now? Itachi asked. Do we wait for Hidan and Kakuzu to finish? Madara shook his head. We move according to my plans. I have no need for useless trash. The elder Uchiha looked around, almost as if he was searching for something. He took off his mask and his eyes carefully scanned the ground. According to the scroll, it indicated that there was supposedly a button trigger on the floor that would reveal a hidden path. Taking one look at the floor and then back to the scroll, Madara growled in frustration. The damn riddles inscribed to this scroll were endless and he was in no mood for games. He was so close to his goal that he can practically taste it. Without warning, Madara slammed his fist into the ground, causing a shockwave against the tiles on the floor. The sound of a small trigger was heard and then the entire floor began to shake. One by one, the panels on the floor began opening up, revealing a spiral staircase led the way underground. The small smile on Madara's face didn't go unnoticed by Itachi as he remained in the back, observing the man. He wasn't the only one who had doubts about the man. While on the way here, he saw how strange Zetsu and Konan were behaving and that was enough to put 2 and 2 together. The only one who was the idiot here was probably Deidara, but then again, he should give the man more credit. Madara practically had the stench of evil around him. It would take an incredibly retarded person to not notice it, though if one were to think about it, the world was full of ignorant idiots. Itachi then noticed that Konan was writing something on a piece of paper again, just like the time back in the forest. He turned around and stared at her, his onyx eyes staring into her brown eyes. What are you up to, Konan? It is none of your business, Uchiha. Konan coolly replied. You can deceive the others but you can't fool these eyes of mine. The blue-hair woman walked past him, ignoring his gaze on her. She didn't have to explain herself. That was the second time tonight that people have been curious about her. As much as she wanted to enjoy the attention, she could feel their eyes carefully studying her, watching her every move as if she was a trapped animal. This was not right at all. Himura stood on the border of Oni no Kuni, sitting on a rock while waiting for the others to catch up. He felt several chakra points as they came from the north. There was a pair coming from the east and one more coming from the west. He couldn't help but smile to himself. The plan was coming together and all the key players were gathering. Hello Himura-san. Tsunade greeted as her team, which included most of the Rookie 9 and Jiraiya, landed in front of the Guardian. We got here as fast as we could. The Guardian looked up, surprised to see so many people standing alongside with Tsunade. You brought a lot of people, Tsunade of Konoha. Yes, I have. These people were willing to risk everything for this. I cannot deny them of this opportunity to prove to everyone that they are great ninjas. Himura chuckled. They've got guts, I'll give them that, but they are also very foolish. You're willing to risk exposing them to death way before their time, Tsunade. Very foolish indeed. What's that, old man? I dare you to say it again. Kiba yelled, punching his fist into the air. Come on, old man, if you got something to say it to my face. It took everything that Kiba had from launching himself and attacking the Guardian, but it also helped that he was being restrained by Hinata. Calm yourself, Kiba, Shino said. Showing anger right now is useless. If you hurt him, you would only end up hurting us. That man is our map. Oh, you have someone who knows how to act under pressure, Tsunade, unlike your previous guest. Jiraiya gritted his teeth, wanting nothing more than to join Kiba in beating the man. Tsunade noticed that Himura was purposely insulting them, judging them and seeing if they were worthy to be on this mission. To her surprise, Jiraiya held himself back and recomposed himself. It wasn't just him, every one of her ninjas were restraining themselves, and it showed that they were maturing right in front of her eyes. Someone's coming near us fast, Neji said, his Byakugan activated. Another pair is also coming towards us at a fast pace. I think it's the Raikage. Himura nodded. Yes, that is about right. Can you tell me who that man traveling alone is? Neji shook his head. I don't recognize him at all. Within moments, the man that Neji couldn't describe landed in front of the group, a dust cloud covering his landing. When it cleared, the young man stepped forward and his eyes carefully scanned the group. Is Himura Dono here? The young man asked. Depends on who's asking, the Guardian replied. I am Hidekatsu Kenichi, the son of the current Tsuchikage, Hidekatsu Shibata. My father couldn't make it and sent me in his place. Himura merely nodded. Do you have his coin, son? Yes, I do. Kenichi showed it to him as proof. Thank you, but while we wait for the others, why don't you introduce yourself? Hi, as I said earlier, my name is Hidekatsu Kenichi, the son of the Tsuchikage. It is my honor to be fighting with legends such as yourself. Kenichi bowed in respect to the elder ninjas. Jiraiya merely laughed, waving it off. Kid, you honor us too much. We're here for a common goal. If we had met differently, this would have gone down differently. I couldn't have agreed more. Jiraiya of the three legendary Sanins, the man who is hailed the king of the Toad Summons. Your feat of training not one but two great legends is a tale that many ninjas have come to admire. Jiraiya's eyes widened when the kid, whom he thought was just another brat, was able to pull off so much data on him in an instant. Kenichi didn't stop there. He went on giving everyone on Tsunade's team a small biography of themselves, information that shouldn't be that well known outside Konoha. Hearing it from his mouth was a little shocking, and a little disturbing. So the brat wanted to play information war, huh? Did he just issue him a silent challenge? Jiraiya didn't think so. He wasn't going to take this lying down. Oh no, he was going to show this brat who he was messing with. You're good, Kenichi, or should I just call you the Terrible Titan? A man who has the ability to completely surpass his father in terms of skills. You made quite a name for yourself, single-handedly going head-to-head with Sasori of the Red Sands before he passed away, and most importantly, you were able to defeat your father easily in a battle not too long ago. Now, it was Kenichi's turn to show his surprise. This man, Jiraiya of the Sanins, was no slouch when it came to information gathering. All he did was issue a little challenge, and when his challenge was accepted and blown wide apart, he knew he had met his match. This man's information network was on a whole different level compared to his. Maybe he should have reconsidered his challenge. Tsunade looked rather amused, and it showed. The Gaki had the guts to issue an information challenge against Jiraiya, the man who was known to a legendary network of conformant. He was just 100 years too early to be doing this. Watching them two bicker back and forth vaguely reminded her of several people. In front of her, she saw the silhouettes of the two people she never thought to see. Before her was the ghost of the Yondaime, back when he was just a fresh genin, and then she saw him, Uzumaki Naruto. Standing behind Kenichi were the Yondaime and Naruto, a faint smile on their faces. Those images that quickly appeared in front of her disappeared a second later as she snapped out of her daydream. Himura coughed, getting everyone's attention. It seems like our last two members are here. Just as he said that, the Raikage and his warrior landed on the ground, causing a tremendous tremor on the ground. The man next to the Raikage raised his hands in the air and shouted, "Killer Bee in the house. All ya down with that?" Aoi growled, "Shut up, Killer Bee, do not make me regret this decision." "Oh yes, I'll be silent as a cat." Amusing, Himura answered. "Unfortunately, we don't have time for this. The only people we're waiting for now are Gaara of Sunagakure and Shiro of Kurigakure." "I don't think they're coming," Himura. Aoi replied. "I would have seen them when we left our village." Himura merely sighed as he stood up, patting the dust off his pants. "Then, I guess it cannot be helped. We will proceed forward with our plan. There isn't a moment to waste. Let's go." A chorus of "yes" was music to the Guardian's ears. Yes, everything was coming together, and it couldn't get any better than this. Soon, everything will be set in motion. Salvation will be here once more. As Himura took the lead, the group followed the Guardian respectfully. Jiraiya led the way along with Tsunade. "I still don't trust that guy Tsunade," the Toad Hermit mutters. "He reminds me too much of Orochimaru, I could see it in his eyes." "Don't start that crap again, Jiraiya," Tsunade sharply replied. "We're working together to save the world, not destroy it. If you explain that chaos theory to me on more time." "I'm being serious here, Tsunade," Jiraiya argued, but when he saw that stubborn look in her eyes, he knew she couldn't be persuaded. "Fine, but I'm keeping my guard up." At the Holy Temple. "Holy crap, what the hell happened here?" Kiba shouted as he tried to cover up his nose. "The smell of blood is so fresh and strong." Neji automatically activated his bloodline, searching the area for the intruders. Himura shook his head, waving his hand in front of the boy. "Forget it, Hyuga, you won't be able to see inside that temple. It's heavily guarded with specialized seals that will prevent people like you to see the inside." Seeing that the Guardian was right, Neji deactivated his bloodline and frowned. "How do you know so much about this place, Himura-san?" The Guardian merely smiled. "In order to be a Guardian, you have to be well informed of the thing you're guarding. I merely did my homework." Satisfied with his answer, the group continued onward into the courtyard, but when they got there, everyone's eyes widened in shock. Lying in front of them were the 5 monks, their body pierced through the chest. Sakura gasped when she saw one monk, impaled through the wall with a strange circle around him. Kenichi whistled as he looked around, impressed by the destruction. "This can only be the work of Hidan and Kakuzu," Jiraiya answered, interrupting the boy from outdoing him. "These guys weren't ordinary monks. Nope, they were known as the Midnight Demons, a famous group of ninjas that terrorized Oni no Kuni a few years back." Kenichi answered, smirking at Jiraiya. Guys," Hinata said, getting everyone's attention. "I think they're still here." She pointed towards the steps as the 2 Akatsuki members sat there, their eyes staring right back at them. "Kanakiwa people," Hidan sarcastically greeted. "How can I help you today? Maybe a little spiritual guidance?" What have you done to these people, you monster? Himura angrily shouted. They didn't want to play with me, Hidan replied. So I played with them. Kakuzu rolled his eyes. You guys sure took your time getting here. I was getting bored sitting here. All these innocent people, you monsters. They didn't deserve to be killed like this. Sakura shouted. Then how about you avenge them? Hidan asked as he stood up. Teach me a lesson please, Pinky. Gladly. Sakura shouted as she cracked her knuckles. No, Sakura. Tsunade ordered. You will be coming with us. Neji, Lee, Tenten, you guys take care of them. Hi, Team Guy replied as they took a step forward. This will be interesting, Neji answered. Yash, we will show them our flames of youth. Lee shouted as he got into his taijutsu style with one arm. Since his last battle with Naruto, the man had taken away one of his arms, but that didn't stop him. He trained even harder, doing things that were deemed impossible for a one-armed ninja and proved to everyone that it didn't take two arms to be a successful ninja. Tenten merely sighed as she summoned her favorite pair of blades. She smiled as she stared at her opponents. We heard a lot about you guys from Shikamaru. Let me show you why you don't mess with someone's Junin-sensei. Killer Bee, go help them. Aoi ordered. Alright you cats, it's time that you witness how magnificent Killer Bee truly is. The tanned man leapt forward, standing in front of Neji. Don't get in my way now, little Hyuga. Neji scoffed at the man's pathetic attempt of a rhyme. Make sure that you don't get in our way. I'm going to soar like a bird and sting like a bee. Right, the group replied as they watched him dance around the enemy. Hidan and Kakuzu smiled as they stepped aside, causing Himura to wonder about their true intentions. What are you two doing? Himura asked. The boss told us to let you through, so that's what we'll do. Hidan replied. Let's go, Himura shouted as the rest of the group continued forward. When the rest of them went into the temple, the real fight outside had just begun. Hidan licked his lips as he picked up his weapon. 4 against 2, I like those odds. That monk managed to destroy 2 of my hearts. I will use theirs as replacements. Neji shook his head as he pulled everyone together for a quick group meeting. Lee, go with Killer Bee. I don't know how well his ability is, but if the Raikage brought him here, he must be good. Tenten will be with me. You two take Kakuzu while we take on Hidan. Lee nodded as Killer Bee grinned. This will be fun, one-armed dude. Let us dance to the music. Yash, I can see the flames shining brightly in you as well, Killer Bee-san. Tenten groaned as she walked away from the duo, clutching her head. Oh god, there's 2 of them. My thoughts exactly, Neji answered back.
Akatsuki.
Did you two set up the traps? Madara asked as Itachi and Konan returned. The look on their faces answered his question. A nod from each of them only confirmed it. Good, let us proceed with unlocking this barrier. They watched as the mastermind behind this whole operation conjured up an ancient bell. It looked so fragile that it could shatter with one ring. Is that bell going to unlock the seal? Itachi asked. Madara smirked. Why explain when you can see? With that, the elder Uchiha walked up to the seal and lightly rang the bell. Everyone held their breath, waiting for something magical to happen. The staircase event was both exciting and spectacular to see. They could only hope that this bell would bring forth something similar or something better. To their disappointment, the quiet sounds of the bell did nothing. After it rang, the bell shattered and a majority of the seals around the walls effortlessly dropped to the ground. Deidara sighed as he picked up one up. That's it. What happened to the effects? The entire shabam. Madara chuckled. Not everything in life has to be flashy, Deidara. But art is a bang. Everyone rolled their eyes as they stepped through the barrier, and when everyone entered the final room, their eyes widened. The legends were true, Zetsu said, not bothering to mask his surprise. Unbelievable, Itachi said, an awestruck look on his face. Truly unbelievable. The body of the legendary Raikudo Sennin, fully preserved. It's almost as if he never even aged a day. That's right, Itachi. The Sennin cast a powerful spell on himself that ensured his revival back into this world, and now, the time has come to fulfill his destiny. Unknown parts. Every part of his body was crying out, telling him to either stop this madness or stop getting abused. Naruto grunted as he felt the force behind Pain's attack. It has been 4 days since they started, and since then, he has broken all of his bones, twice. If it wasn't due to the Kyuubi's healing factor, he would have been dead by now. No, not even. He would have been dead when he joined this organization. Damn that furball for giving him the ability to heal faster than normal human beings. Pain stood at a distance, watching the man lying on the ground before him. It was a pitiful sight indeed, but it wasn't pitiful for long. In just a few minutes, he'll be getting up from his feet and the training would commence. For these past few days, he did nothing but forcefully beat Naruto into the ground and then some more. Drilling those techniques into his head. Pounding those styles into his brain. This was his last trump card, his insurance in case all else failed. Since his demon extraction plan failed with the death of the eight-tailed beast, he was forced to turn over the leadership to Madara, and as much as he hated it, he couldn't go back on his word. No matter how much he might hate that man. It was a simple deal, to create this group known as Akatsuki and bring salvation to the world. Pain would act as the first leader and carry out his plan, but if he should fail, the leadership would be handed over to Madara. As much as it pained him to do so, he did it without arguing. Both of them had the same idea to bring salvation to the world, but both of them had different ideas. Still, from what Konan was able to tell him from her little notes, they were already in the burial chamber for the Raikudo Sennin and was about to revive him. As much as she wanted him to be present for the event, he couldn't bring himself to be there. Ever since that day when his plan failed, he couldn't help but wonder how it failed. These thoughts eventually lead him to Madara, who was chirrutting as Toby while manipulating the other members. Just how did the mighty eight-tailed beast die so mysteriously? It was almost like the creature had vanished from the plains of the living. He personally sought the beast out, but he couldn't find it. Reports from the other members showed him that what Madara had said was true, but he could feel the power still here somewhere, lingering on the plane of the living. He had extracted the power of the tail beasts, every one of them except the Hachibi and the Kyuubi. He had the Kyuubi under his grasps now, but without the Hachibi alive, he had no other choice but to face the facts. He had lost the right to lead them. But it didn't mean he would take it lying down. No way in hell. He was going to still carry out the plans, even if it meant breaking away and starting his own group. It should have been him. The person who stood on the top of the world as its savior, not some half-cracked maniac who goes around parading in an orange mask. Pain closed his eyes momentarily, trying to block out the message from Konan, but with her ability to transmit messages on that piece of paper, it was hard not to read it. "Are you that bored?" Naruto sarcastically said as he pushed himself up from the ground. His breathing was heavy and the training conditions that he was sentenced to were insane. No normal man could have survived this. "I just thought you were dead. It was such a pitiful sight of you lying on the ground." "Shut your face," Naruto snarled back. "I didn't ask for this. If you have enough energy to talk, you must have enough to start recovering. Here." Pain tossed a couple of soldier pills at Naruto, who easily caught them between the fingers.
Are we done here?
"Eat up and get ready at a moment's notice. We're about to drop in on our guests." Now was the time to see if Madara's plan was the chosen plan. Fate had a cruel sense of humor, throwing everything she had at him only to see if he was willing to walk the path he had chosen. Pain briefly opened his eyes, staring at Naruto, who leaned against the wall while popping a soldier pill every 3 minutes. "Yes, I will witness with my own eyes how your plan will change the world, Madara." Seeing that their training was over, the feeling of relief washed over Naruto, able to finally take some time and relax. Feeling the familiar feeling of strength returning to his body, Naruto felt a little easier as the tenderness of his muscles started disappearing along with this bruises. Those soldier pills were a wonder, even for a guy like him. Ever since the Kyuubi decided that one day, he had enough and vanished, he had been alone once more. The anger that he felt that day was indescribable. It hurt so damned much to see the demon, no, companion that he had since birth just walk out on him. Especially after everything that he did for him. Hours of perfecting a technique that would grant Kyuubi some freedom, the fox managed to reverse the situation and granted himself a permanent stay. Naruto had to smirk to himself. The fox wasn't that cunning at all. The permanent freedom came with a cost, a price too high to be ignored. By accepting his freedom, the fox had to give up most of his powers. Is this how much freedom means to you, Q? The man muttered. He couldn't understand why the most powerful demon would give up everything just so he can live the rest of his days in peace. What good is peace if you don't have the power to protect it? Naruto shook his head, clearly not understanding the logic behind the demon. Underground temple. Rubbing his eyes for the umpteenth times, Jiraiya stared down at the endless halls, unable to comprehend why they weren't getting any closer. It was like the feeling of déjà vu. He could have sworn that he had walked this path like a million times already. Hell, he could probably remember which tile on the floor had the most cracks. Enough was enough. His patience was growing thin, and walking like this with no chatter was enough to drive anyone insane. Jiraiya poked Tsunade on the sides, getting her attention. Do you get a feeling of déjà vu? Almost instantly, Tsunade agreed with her teammate. Yes, I thought it was odd, but I think we're Genjutsu, Jiraiya answered, finishing the sentence for her. Putting their theory to test, Tsunade glanced back at the Uchiha, who was slowly putting cracks into the wall. He's catching on, she noted. Uchiha, open your Sharingan and tell me what you see. Sasuke looked up, surprised at the request. He smirked to himself, so you felt it too, huh? The pair nodded their heads. We're trapped in a genjutsu, probably a strong one too if I didn't feel it. Jiraiya said. They know we're here. Holding up a single hand seal, Sasuke touched the wall and muttered, Kai. Tsunade then turned her head back to their guardian, who turned his scowl into a smile. She didn't miss it for a second. Even if the man was able to mask his feelings, a split second was enough for her to see it. She watched him nod to the Uchiha, giving him a silent thank you, but that was the least of her concerns. There was this nagging feeling in the back of her head, telling her that Jiraiya was right again. Jiraiya slowly strolled past her and she instantly knew what the man was trying to tell her. He was silently rubbing it in her face, a silent, I told you so. Walk. God, how that man infuriated her. Just once she would like to have her smirking at him. Himura-san, we should continue now. I think this was the major genjutsu trap they had. Jiraiya said in an overly kind voice. Tsunade cocked her head, wondering what that man was up to. Hi, Himura coolly replied, finally leading them past the circular maze, revealing a door at the end of it. Amazing, can you feel it? Aoi asked. He turned his body towards everyone and he was slightly shivering. This power, it's radiating from inside this room. The Hokage nodded her head, understanding the fear behind the man's word. Himura effortlessly walked up to the door and with one swing, he pulled it open. Slowly, the group walked inside, preparing themselves for whatever might be lurking in there. The body, Kenichi whispered, pointing directly forward. Of the Sennin, Jiraiya said, finishing off the sentence. There it was, basking in the glory of the light, untouched for many years. There was enough history in this room that could fill several volumes of text, and there was the legend himself, the body of the Sennin. I'm glad that you guys could make it. Madara's voice echoed through the room. I was afraid that you were going to disappoint me by not showing up. Everyone's defenses went on full alert, the voice unknown to them. It was so evil, So sinister, it was hard not to cringe when the man spoke again. A lot less than I expected. I guess you ordered a team to go against Hidan and Kakuzu Hokage. Enough of your games. Show your face. Tsunade shouted. I demand to see the face of the enemy that I'm dealing with. One by one, each member of Akatsuki appeared alongside the body of the Raikudo Sennin, but the most surprising part was that the man who donned an orange mask was in the middle, right between Conan and Itachi. He took a step forward and applauded. Toby, Jiraiya asked, unsure if that was actually his name or whatnot. He had read reports about this member, the man who can bend space and time. Wrong. Toby never existed in the first place, Jiraiya-san. I am, the man replied as he removed the mask. Uchiha Madara. Almost everyone's eyes bulged out upon hearing that name. How? Sasuke asked, unable to grasp the facts. This man was the founder of his clan, the man who was deemed the only one in the history of the Uchiha to ever gain the Mangekyo Sharingan. And he was supposed to be dead, yet, the man was standing in front of them, living and breathing like everyone else. Himura, Madara said, turning his attention to the Guardian. Did you bring it? Yes, my lord, the Guardian answered, pulling the scroll from inner pocket. I have it right here. What do you think you're doing, Himura? Aoi hissed. What the bloody hell are you doing? Then give it to me. At once, my lord. Without another word, Himura started walking forward, heading in the direction of the enemy. I hate it when you're right, Jiraiya. Tsunade muttered. I hate myself when I'm right too. Kenichi gritted his teeth as he glared at the Guardian. Whose side are you on, Himura? Himura turned his head and smirked. I was never on your side in the first place. Everyone merely assumed that I was on the side of good, a mistake that you'll probably never make again since none of you will be alive to make another choice. Everyone watched as the man dropped the scroll into the hands of Madara Uchiha, who just smiled at them, taunting them to do something. Everything went according to plan, Madara-sama. And now, the stage is set.
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed.
There were only a few things in this world that Tsunade hated with a passion, things that she will absolutely not tolerate. The list consisted of perverts, debt collectors, and the worst of all, traitors. She especially despised traitors. They were the worst out of the whole group. Her definition of a traitor is someone who would sell out their loyalty for something so material. It was because of traitors that caused unnecessary conflicts, and it would always be traitors that would cause the downfall of most civilizations. They had absolutely no remorse for the things they do, didn't care who they hurt in the process in order to get what they want. Himura, the man that she once believed was on their side, stood before her with their sworn enemies. Akatsuki, a group of high-caliber ninjas that was out for their own personal gain. Himura, you no good, lying, dirty bastard, Tsunade growled out. The string of curses could go on for miles, but she composed herself. She looked around, taking a quick head count of their members. 7 members, she muttered quietly to Jiraiya. Naruto and Pain aren't here. Jiraiya blinked his eyes, confirming Tsunade's suspicion. That might be a blessing in disguise, Tsunade-heim. If he was here, God knows we wouldn't be able to make it out of here alive. The Toad Sanin could see the members of Akatsuki staring them down, like fresh meat to a pack of hungry wolves. The killing intent was just leaking out, and none of them were doing anything to contain it. From the corner of his eye, he could see Hinata and her team masking their fear. They probably noticed it themselves too. Guess there's no helping it. This is the first time they faced all the members of Akatsuki head-on. Come now, Hokage-sama, surely you're not mad about what I did, are you? Himura replied, a smile on his face. You never really, what's that word I'm looking for here, asked. A small blush appeared on Tsunade's face, but she didn't care. No one makes a fool out of her and gets to brag about it. You were a guardian. There was no reason for me to question you. I could have been your worst enemy disguised as an ally and you still wouldn't have known. The former guardian replied, dropping his grandfatherly tone. His voice suddenly picked up a more mature tone, a tone of someone who has crossed over to the dark side. It doesn't matter anyway because none of you will be leaving here alive. Why you? I knew you were a pathetic cage, Tsunade. Aoi said, pulling her back. Watch and see how a true cage leads. Himura, you're right. None of us will be leaving here alive because all of us intend to make this place your final burial chamber. The Raikage roared, his voice and eyes portraying the man's anger. All that humiliation that he suffered at the hands of this man, he was going to pay it back double. The former guardian saw the challenge and he was eager to accept it. His hands clenched into a fist, ready to fight the man, but Madara intervened, standing in front of him. In due time, Himura snorted and backed away, taking his place next to Itachi. Madara clapped his hands a few times, gaining everyone's attention. He cocked his head to the side, staring at the enemy. Sasuke-kun, the man happily squealed, won't you join us? Sasuke sported a bewildered look on his face. Just what did this freak want with him? What? He snarled. I have no business with a fool like you. Madara laughed. I want to extend to you the hand of friendship. An offer to join us. While he sported his facade of a fool, his visible eye said nothing foolish about the man. His eye was staring straight at the youngest Uchiha, gauging him of his strength. Sasuke scoffed back. To join you? I would rather grovel at Gaara's feet first. Joining you would mean joining up with Itachi, and I'm not here to work with him. I'm here to kill him. The man shrugged his shoulders and turned around. Oh well, it's your funeral. We can kill them now, yeah? Deidara asked. Tear them limbs from limbs and hang them by their necks. Madara nodded his head. Kill them all. I want none of them escaping this place alive. With the utmost pleasure, boss. Each of them took a step forward, but they weren't met with resistance, rather they were greeted head-on with a challenge. Don't take us lightly, Madara. All of us here are willing to lay down our lives to stop whatever evil you plan on unleashing into this world. Jiraiya called out. I'm sorry, but I don't think you have time to speak, Jiraiya-chan. The hermit's eyes widened when Himura appeared in front of him with a shunshin. Clearly at this point, the man wasn't just a pushover, he was the real deal. Get out of the way, you fool. Aoi growled, leaping towards Himura. That man is mine. Jiraiya obediently obeyed. He had no quarrel with the Guardian, his real goal was to stop the ritual from happening. The moment he saw an opening between the clash of Aoi and Himura, he ran forward, using them as a distraction, but before he made it past Himura, he was greeted with a hard knee to the face, sending him straight into the wall. His eyes had the touch of surprise on them when he realized that Himura was the one who knocked him back. Son of a bitch, he shouted, feeling the pain on his face. Tsunade snorted as she jumped into the fight, helping Aoi out. You have taken much harder beatings from me. Don't tell me a kick like that managed to hurt you. She taunted. This is my fight. Both of you get lost. Aoi hissed, his back facing them. I don't need your help. None of you will pass. Himura said, holding his arms out slightly. The moment you pass me is the moment you die. Hearing the cocky words coming out of his mouth pissed Jiraiya off even more. Aoi, we're going to kill this piece of garbage. The Raikage chuckled, turning his head to admire Jiraiya's new attitude. A toad working with the beast. Ahaha, I like it. He roared. Both of them ran forward, intending of killing the man that stood before them. Together, we will show you pain beyond any mortal imagination. The duo cried out in unison. Tsunade stood back.
Listen, everywhere you look in this world, wherever there is light, there will always be shadows to be found as well.
Tsunade stood back, amazement written across her face. Dear God, there's two of them. The first thing that Sasuke did was search for Itachi. That was the whole reason he was here. To kill the bastard that put him through hell. He was going to make sure that the man died a slow painful death. Itachi. Sasuke yelled out. Fight me. Still loud as ever, huh, Sasuke? Itachi calmly replied, his hands still inside his cloak. The two glared at each other. You never did learn to control your emotions. Sasuke-kun. Sakura shouted as she took her place beside Sasuke. Let me help you. I've been training for this fight too. No. Get lost, Sakura. Sasuke hissed. He turned his glare towards Sakura, but he found her glaring intently back at him. No. She hissed back. Stop being a baby and let me help you. Is there something going on between the two of you? Itachi inquired, finding the conversation between this girl and his younger brother amusing. I didn't know you had a thing for pink-hair girls. You can mock me all you want, Itachi, but when it's all said and done, you're going to die. Sasuke retorted. He turned and pushed Sakura away. Don't make me kill you, Hirano. Your Hokage promised me this fight and I'll be damned if you cost me his death again. Sakura looked at him, unable to find words to answer him back. The way he spoke to her rendered her speechless. Go help the Hyuga or something, you annoying woman. I don't a distraction around me. Fine, Sakura shouted, clenching her teeth. Be an ass and go get yourself killed. I don't care. She quickly left the area, but not before turning her head around, watching Sasuke for the last time before he fought his elder brother. Something deep inside of her told her that this was indeed the final battle between the two. Ten. Neji frantically yelled out. He made a miscalculation. Him, the genius of the Hyuga clan, miscalculated. At first, everything was going okay until he found something out, something that Shikamaru failed to mention. Hidan was able to utilize some kind of telekinetic power. That's how he caught them off guard. By mentally moving the weapon. Now, he paid for it. Right before his eyes, he saw Tenten lying on the floor, in a puddle of her own blood. Neji stopped his assault and ran over, not caring about showing his back to Hidan. The cultist smirked at his handiwork. Jashin-sama will be so pleased that I sent him a beauty. Even if she was a bitch to fight. Shut up, Neji replied, his hand caressing Tenten's face. His fingers slowly graze her cheeks, touching them lightly. Ah, what's the matter? Are you sad because I broke that bitch? Hidan taunted. I said shut up, Neji roared out, abandoning his stoic exterior. I will make you pay, you bastard. I will make you pay 1,000 deaths. Hidan widened his eyes and darkly laughed. Come then, come and let me sacrifice you to the almighty god of Jashin. The man hungrily begged. Nay, gee, Tenten's voice croaked out. Shish, Neji calmly replied. It's going to be okay, Tenten. I'm going to send the bastard back to hell, so just save your strength. Seeing that smile on his teammate's face broke his heart into pieces. They both knew that she wasn't going to make it, and yet, she put on a brave smile for him. Anger started building up and he cursed the man for taking away his friend. I'm going to kill him, Tenten. For you, so don't worry. The once stoic Hyuga stood up, and started walking over to Hidan. To the people who known Neji for a long time, they would claim that he's an insensitive jerk or a perfectionist, but to his teammates, he was an irreplaceable man. They knew him better than anyone else, and they knew he was a dangerous man to piss off. From the moment Neji dropped his stoic exterior, that was when his true power came out. It wasn't a deep hidden power, no. In fact, it was a limit. Ever since his defeat at the hands of Uzumaki at the Chunin exams and again in the village, he pushing himself past his limits only during private eyes, but to the public eyes, he limited himself to a certain extent. The immortal member of Akatsuki smirked as he watched Neji approach him. So you're going to avenge that bitch, huh? Let's see you try, you pale-eye freak. Neji slowly exhaled and closed his eyes. Hidan pulled his death scythe back and gripped it tightly. Her blood tasted so sweet. I wonder how yours will taste. Will you let me taste it? The Hyuga slowly moved his arms, settling them into a different stance. As he opened his eyes, he saw Hidan rushing towards him, his body crouching low but his weapon poised to strike. Before the weapon could reach, Neji disappeared, letting the weapon hit the after-image. The immortal's eyes widened when he realized what happened. What the hell? He yelled as he twisted his body around. The kid was now moving at a speed that surpassed even his eyes. Everywhere he looked, there he was, standing and waiting for him to strike. What happened, immortal? I thought you wanted to taste my blood. Neji answered, his voice different from usual. Each time Hidan went to strike, Neji disappeared from his spot, leaving him more and more frustrated. Just on the opposite side of the field, Killer Bee and Lee were having a much easier time. Killer Bee stood on top of one of Kakuzu's heart monsters, smirking as he smashed his fist through the third heart. As he watched the one that had a lightning affinity slowly disappear from this world, he heard his partner Lee shouting something before impaling the last one with his left arm. At the start, there were 3. But they weren't a match for me. Killer Bee began to rap. Just 2 minutes ago, Lee made a straight line for thee. And now, there was just one. The man from Kumo replied as he smirked. What say you, my friend? Should we finish this? As you wish, Lee sadly replied. He was too emotional right now to do anything. When he heard Neji yelling Tenten's name, he knew the worst has happened, but he couldn't leave his battle. You guys are just brats. How the hell are you brats able to fight on this level? Kakuzu yelled. We are the youths that have the will of fire burning within each of us. Lee replied, stepping into his one-arm taijutsu style, the Goken. Impossible. Kakuzu angrily snarled. I will not be defeated by the likes of you. Lee gulped and clutched his fist tightly. Before he could do anything, Killer Bee pushed him out of the way. Bee-san, what are you doing? Any true poetic master like myself can see that your heart aches. Leave this man to me and go tend to your fallen comrade. I will deal with him myself. Lee had a startled look on his face before producing a small smile. Thank you, he quietly replied as he ran towards the direction of where Neji is. Kakuzu looked at Lee's retreating form in surprise. Do you think you can take me on by yourself? Killer Bee shrugged his shoulders. I don't have to think, you old fossil. I know so. Die. Kakuzu pushed his arms outward and the black thread came lashing out. Yo sir, do you know who I am? Killer Bee randomly asked. He waited for the man to answer, but instead, he saw the black strings coming straight at him. I'll tell you who I am. I am Killer Bee, the keeper of the eight-tailed beast. With his final statement, Killer Bee held his arm up and began transforming. The skin on his body started to peel off, revealing a darker, deeper shade of red, and chakra began leaking out. Within moments, the transformation was complete. Kakuzu let out a small gasp as he witnessed something unimaginable. This guy, he was the keeper of the eighth-tailed beast, the one that Madara-sama said to have died. By normal means, he was not normal. He had lived since the day of the Shodai and experienced things that no normal mortal is experienced, and he had grown immune to surprises, but this unforeseen change had surprised him. The beast, in its full glory, glared at the Akatsuki member, daring him to attack. Kakuzu weighed his options, to run or to fight. If he ran, he could seek out ninjas and build up his heart collection and live to see another day, but if he ran, Madara-sama will kill him personally. If he stayed and fought, there was no chance he would win against the eighth-tailed beast in his form. The man didn't even get a chance to decide when he saw the beast charging up an attack. Something that looked like a huge amount of chakra, compressing it into a small particle. His eyes widened and he could feel the power behind it. Hidan, Kakuzu yelled out. The eighth-tailed beast is alive. Everyone turned around and saw the gigantic beast cowering before them. Hidan turned in the direction that his partner was pointing at, not that he needed any direction. The tailed beast, famed creatures of legends, demons, was standing before him, glaring at him. Oh shit. Lee and Neji stared at the new arrival of the beast. What the hell is that thing? Neji asked but saw that his partner was confused as he was. The chakra behind that beast is insane. The Hyuga replied, his eyes gazing with his Byakugan. What the hell did we get ourselves involved with? He muttered as he crouched near Tenten. Picking her up gently, he shouted to Lee, take Tenten and get the hell out of here. I have to finish my fight. I can't do that, Neji. We shall finish the fight together. Lee, don't be a fool. Get Tenten out of here now. Neji roared out, not giving the chance for Lee to respond. The taijutsu expert hesitantly moved his head, deciding between staying and leaving, but when he saw that look in Neji's eyes, he knew better to argue. Don't die on me, he whispered. Neji merely smirked, I'm a genius, remember. I will survive. He gently placed Tenten on Lee's arm and picked up her sword. I'm going to borrow this for a while, Tenten. In his hand, he firmly gripped the weapon. Get out of here while I'm covering you. Hidan scoffed, why are you running? Surely someone from the mighty Hyuga clan wouldn't run from a small obstacle as that beast. Only cowards would retreat. Neji coldly replied as he held the weapon out. I'm going to make you pay, even if it means being with you in hell. Fool, do you not get it? I cannot die. I thought I proved my point when I stabbed my own weapon through my own bloody heart. I don't need to kill you to show you eternal damnation. Neji coolly replied. Holding the Kanajana in one hand, he dashed forward and swung. Hidan saw the attack coming from a mile away and kicked his weapon out, effectively blocking the strike. 3 minutes. Hidan stared at his opponent curiously. 3 minutes? What are you blabbering about? 3 minutes before that blast is release. All I need is 2 minutes with you. Ha, I like to see you try it, you bastard. Before Deidara had the chance to show everyone his appreciation for art, a young man slowly came towards him, with every intention of approaching him. The Akatsuki member backed away slowly, his hand never leaving the pouch. Are you by any chance Deidara, the former Iwanin? The young man asked. Deidara snorted, of course. I'm the great Deidara-sama. He looked the kid over and marked him as his target. You here to learn some art, ya? The young man shook his head. Learn art? No, sorry, but I'm here to kill you. Kill me. Many have tried but none have succeeded yet. Wait a second, kid, why do you look familiar to me?
Wake up to reality.
Deidara tapped his chin for a few seconds, pondering about where he saw that face before. Did I kill one of your friends or family before? He nonchalantly asked. Or did I do something to you and forgot to kill you? Kenichi gritted his teeth, clearly annoyed. You truly are the clueless dumbass that everyone knows. Say that again. I dare ya. Deidara retorted, holding a clay bird in one palm. Screw your name. I don't need to know it when you're dead. I am Kenichi Hidekatsu, you gutless moron. Deidara's eyes widened and it slowly turned into a smirk. So that's where I remember you from. I met your pipsqueak ass back during that family picnic. You sure were an annoying little prick of a cousin then. Guess it runs in our blood, cousin. Kenichi's eyes turned cold and whispered, no, you're wrong. It only runs in my blood. In a split second, the son of the famed Tsuchikage rammed his entire body into Deidara's, sending him crashing into the solid wall. Kenichi pulled his shoulder back and twisted his body. His arms came down immediately, one punch to the gut, second punch to the nose. Kenichi showed the man no mercy, beating on his opponent like an enraged beast. Deidara groaned in pain as his so-called cousin broke his nose. Why, you son of a bitch? The former Iwanin yelled as his hand reached up and grabbed Kenichi by the face. I'll teach you not to mess with your elders.
Eat this.
A small clay bird hopped from the pouch and landed on Kenichi's chest. Say hello to my whittle friend, Deidara darkly chuckled. Kenichi watched as the small bird made its way over. His eyes widened when he felt it growing warmer with each passing second and he gripped Deidara's wrist, forcing the man to release his grip. Art as a bang. A large explosion occurred when the bird uttered a small chirp. Deidara smirked when he heard his cousin cry out in pain, knowing that his chest was probably burnt and on fire. With his arm still gripping Kenichi's face, Deidara gave his cousin a tremendous headbutt, causing the young man to stagger backwards. Feeling the air sucked out of his lungs and his chest on fire, Kenichi did the only thing he could, and that was to drop to the ground and slowly recover. He learned about Deidara's techniques through his father and considered them only mild explosions, but he imagined that they would be this powerful. I remember kicking your ass when we were little, and just look at us now. I'm still kicking your ass, Deidara said, his hand reaching to make another C4 model. By the way, how's the old man doing? Is he even alive? He sure as hell took my ultimate attack head on. Deidara ranted on, bragging about his win against the man, but he failed to notice that his opponent wasn't following a word that he was saying. The fortress, that's what they called my old man. The clay user stopped his ranting, noticing that Kenichi was slowly getting up. He could see the burnt flesh on his flesh as clear as day, and he could see the blood on his face. What? His defense was something to admire. Nothing short of a huge explosion could make a dent in his armor. The son of the Tsuchikage, with all his effort, pushed himself to stand up. Do you know what a titan is? Kenichi asked his cousin. A titan? Is that what they call you? Deidara laughed. In his hand, he formed a small giant that resembled a titan. Something like this. No, a titan is like a juggernaut, someone who is unstoppable once started. Feeling a huge increase in Kenichi's chakra, Deidara watched in amazement as pieces of dirt, soil, rose up into the air and attached itself to his skin. What the? For the third time in his life, he was at a loss for words. Was this a special bloodline that he wasn't aware about? This was just impossible, almost foreign. He had never, ever in his entire existence witnessed something so disgusting, more disgusting than Zetsu devouring an entire corpse. In a matter of moments, Kenichi's entire body was covered, from head to toe, with dirt, pebbles, literally anything that came from the ground. As he clenched his fists and closed his eyes, chakra began surrounding his body and everything began fusing together, forming a light bronze armor. Feel the power of the Titan cousin. Hinata, Sakura shouted as she landed beside her friend. Can I give you a hand with her? Konan frowned at the new arrival. She batted her eyes, knowing that her opponent was indeed the apprentice to the legendary slug Sanin and a very dangerous foe. The Hyuga alone was dangerous, but with her, she was clearly outmatched. It will be an honor, Sakura-san. Hinata politely replied. She turned her attention to Konan once more. Will you forfeit this match, Akatsuki-san? You were hopelessly outmatched before, and now, you have no chance of winning. Surrender and we will promise that no harm will fall on you. Choosing to ignore my offer will only lead to death. It's your choice. Konan snorted. Even the smallest paper can leave you with a cut. Do not underestimate me or else you'll find yourself dead. Enough talk. Sakura yelled as she cocked her fist back. She took a flying leap, slamming her fist into the ground, causing a small fissure. Konan looked unimpressed and jumped up, but that was when she realized her mistake. The fissure was just a distraction for the Hyuga to get into her attack position. She cursed herself for making such a rookie move. As the Hyuga came closer, Konan extended her arms and within seconds, millions of rectangular papers came flying out, blinding Hinata. The Hyuga mistress narrowed her eyes and calmly extended her arms. Shugo Hake Rokujiansho. Sakura stared in amazement, her eyes following the graceful and fluid movements from the once timid girl. Hinata, Sakura thought, you truly are your own woman. I have to stop her at all cost. Hinata yelled to herself as she felt her arms moving on their own accord. I cannot fall here. Millions of millions came flying towards her, but she didn't waver. Within moments, those crisp papers that once flew in the air slowly drifted down to the ground, losing their edge. Blood came out of her mouth as Konan returned to her normal body. She narrowed her eyes at the calm Hyuga girl, standing there looking proud. I ask you once more, Akatsuki-san, will you surrender? Hinata's gentle voice spoke up. We have endured too much to give up here. Conan replied, wiping the blood off her mouth with the back of her hand. We have suffered greatly and we have sacrificed many, but one thing is for sure, we will not be giving up here. Spoken like a true ninja. Sakura answered, I will grant you a swift death. The medic dashed forward, her fist cocked back, aiming for a quick kill. She saw her opponent on the ground, her body giving out, but her eyes, they were different. Almost like they weren't going to give up just yet. Seeing her palm twitch slightly, Sakura wisely jumped out of the way, earning a curious glance from Hinata. Her eyes, Sakura pointed out. They're not the eyes of someone giving up. That's because you're right, I don't intend of giving up just yet. Conan whispered out. Her fingers quickly went up into the air, already performing a seal. She's performing a summoning seal, Sakura. Hinata shouted. I know, Sakura retorted back, already on the move before Hinata shouted. She measured the distance between the Akatsuki woman and her, and with the added chakra already in her legs, she could reach it before the summoning was complete. You're finished, Sakura yelled as she sent her fist forward. Conan heard the loud voice. Her ninja senses were screaming at her to avoid the incoming attack, but none of that mattered. All that mattered was finishing this one last seal. A small smile appeared on her face as she slammed her palm to the ground. Thank you. Smoke arisen from the ground, but Sakura didn't stop. She continued onward, swinging her fist with all her might. It didn't matter what came out of the smoke, her fist would smash though anything. Well, isn't this a sight for sore eyes? It's just like deja vu all over again. Sakura's eyes widened. The appearance of that voice sent chills down her spine as she could only gasp. Everyone in the room halted their battle, surprised at the appearance of the unforeseen visitor. As the smoke cleared, the sound of footsteps echoed the battlefield, each step putting fear into the body of some, excitement in the body of others, but one thing was for certain, surprise was in the air. Let the pain begin.